Shalom. All praise, honor, and glory going to Yahweh Shemel Shai, Bashem Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone. Salutations to all you alchemists out there pushing this truth with all honesty and sincerity by way of the highways and the byways, going on the streets, teaching and preaching, and also by the way of the internet. Shalom to you very few sisters that's out there listening and learning this. Your brother Nayap, and I'm back with another news update. This is for fair use, fair use, fair use, and for educational purposes only. This is not for any kinds of monetary gain. Give me 2 seconds, y'all. I'm trying to get my pencil. I kind of don't need that, but I like writing down stuff. All right. So without further ado, I'm just gonna get into it. It's a lot of videos, so I figure I'll just come up with a couple. And then probably after this, I do a lesson on this this Seminole Negroes and Seminole Indians. So yeah.
Well, breaking fuck the news. This is news to me, actually. I didn't know this. But Donald Trump owns a New Jersey golf club. And the areas over his golf clubs are restricted airspace. So now for the second or third time, a small passenger plane has accidentally flown over the restricted airspace, which then called for fighter jets to be scrambled because of a civilian passenger airplane flying over a golf club that is owned by the president. Can't make this shit up, brother. You can't.
Largest economy because the rate of inflation accelerated last month, according to official data that was out a little earlier.
I think it's pretty ridiculous and a slap in the face to our allies. Like, you guys have our back, you stimulate our economy.
But to me, he's playing darts with a javelin. He's going to smash the board and cause danger to all the people around him. So the risks are that international trade gets disrupted and therefore global growth slowed.
23. Walmart superstores slam their doors shut. 700 McDonald's outlets strip off their signs. Nearly 1,000 CVS pharmacies go dark. Everything evaporates in just 24 months, leaving essential goods dead zones, pockmarking the very heart of America. From the prairie flats of Texas to the rolling hills of Ohio, countless people now drive more than 60 kilometers just to buy a carton of milk, while the sick stagger because no pharmacy stays open before dusk. Towns that once thrived on Walmart now stand with dusty, empty shelves. The Dollar Menu burger stand is nothing but a torn-up billboard. Even the community food bank runs dry after a single winter. The United States once boasted of being a consumer paradise, yet when groceries, medicines, and fast food all desert low-income residents at once, rural America feels abandoned inside the so-called American dream. If supermarkets, medicines, and quick meals all disappear, is America still America? Join Deep State as we expose the raw truth unfolding on U.S. soil. While New York keeps its lights blazing, the countryside faces unprecedented misery under inflation and climbing tariffs. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss our latest political, economic...
These gentlemen believe that this planet is being visited by beings from another world who, for whatever reason, have taken an interest in the nuclear arms race which began at the end of World War II. Regarding the missile shutdown incidents, my opinion, their opinion, is that whoever are aboard these craft are sending a signal to both Washington and Moscow, among others, that we are playing with fire, that the possession and threatened use of nuclear weapons potentially threatens the human race and the integrity of the planetary environment.
$1 million? You guys made her $1 million because you couldn't wait for her to drop content? If you didn't know, Lil Tay decided that when she becomes 18 years old, she wants to hop into that type of industry. And just like Bad Baby, she just made $1 million. Shawty straight up said, I don't want a normal job. I don't want to go to school. I want to do this. And made $1 million. And from what Twitter is saying, them fiend out dudes got finesse. It's dudes crying on Twitter saying that they got scammed, saying that all they see is normal photos. Do you not see the overall issue that you even went to go pay for that? Do y'all just made her $1 million off of being thirsty, bro. This is Bad Baby all over again. Y'all made Bad Baby, what, $23 million off of being thirsty? Are y'all not ashamed? And now they making AI photos too. I forgot about that. Because people can't get no images, they making AI images now. Y'all dudes couldn't wait to make the AI images either. It gets to a point.
Well, we've got an update for you, so let's get to it. National Hurricane Center, big update at 2 o'clock. We've got a lot of things to kind of break down, and this, I think, is kind of top of the headline here. We're probably going to get Dexter. Tropical Storm Dexter, likely to be named by tomorrow. Now, Invest 95L, so right now it's not Dexter, and my suspicions were correct. Still connected to that stalled front. So as long as it's connected to that boundary, we don't have a system that's purely tropical. But it is strengthening, and it's moving through warmer waters, lower wind shear, so all it needs to do is kind of lift up off that front, and it'll sustain itself quite nicely, at least at the middle part of this week. So here's that boundary. You can actually see it in play right about here. So all these showers and storms that you see riding off the coast, that's all connected to the stalled front. But then you've got Invest 95L just off to the east, still connected to that front, but producing some gale force winds now, winds topping about 30, 35 miles an hour. We're close. 40 degrees is that threshold, 40 miles per hour, rather, is the threshold to see a tropical system be named, right? That's when we reach tropical storm status. But as long as that front still mixed into the core of this system, it's not going to take on that purely tropical nature. So eventually we're expecting to see this lift. National Hurricane Center is pretty confident that we'll see this continue to move through those warmer waters, and probably by tomorrow, and I'd say through about the middle of the week, we'll be watching Tropical Storm Dexter move away from the United States. That's the biggest key factor here, is that this system is not expected to impact the U.S. What's impacting the U.S. is this stalled boundary. And this stalled boundary already producing what is expected to be Dexter, well, it might produce a little more tropical trouble for us. We're not completely out of the woods just yet.
Well, today we saw the significant protest on the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and to some they may well say it was quite successful in the fact that they got quite significant numbers. We're estimating up to around 90,000 people there. There is a reason why we have said all along we like to take the time to plan out for these protests, and that is public safety. Make no mistake, public safety was a real concern to us today. I'm really happy that the police on the ground, the police commander, ran an operation today where they had to make very big decisions very quickly to ensure people's safety. At points today, we were really concerned about a crowd crush. For example, we could not get those people, the significant size of that crowd, off that northern egress route. Without risking crowd crush. We could not allow those numbers to then egress into the northern side, into those train stations, without, again, that real risk of crowd crush. So this operation, from our point of view, was a success in that no one was hurt. No people were hurt, no police were hurt. But gee whiz, I wouldn't like to try and do this every Sunday at that short notice. There's a reason we need time to plan these things out. And I think going forward into the future, that has to be taken into consideration. We're very lucky today that the crowd was well behaved. We're very lucky that the organisers did listen to us. And thankfully, we have had an operation whilst
Well, breaking fuck the news. It has just been announced that Russia is officially starting human trials on a cancer vaccine that will be provided to patients for free. Listen, guys, I don't know if if I got to be the one to say this to you, if you're a Russian and somehow happen to see this TikTok, don't do that. Don't do it. You're gonna fuck around and have fucking super soldiers running around this bitch. All faith that we find the cure for cancer, and it's a true cure for cancer. Godspeed. Vaccine. Free. In this political climate? Listen. If you're a Russian or you decide you want to go to Russia to try that shit out, fuck no, don't do it, please. You're gonna fuck around and grow 3 legs, 2 arms, fuck around, be punching brick walls and cracking them. Hey, man.
The problem is we don't have enough women disrespecting men. We don't have enough women humbling these men and putting them in their place. We need to start making these men feel worthless because they are. Okay? Call him a bitch. Disrespect him. It's your job as a woman to put that man down and put him in his place.
I said I knew where she was coming from based on what I followed up with.
How you relating to somebody you don't know? You don't know her way of thinking. You just automatically on her side because she a woman. This rhetoric that we hear from women is not constructive. And the women in the comments, y'all need to stop supporting this shit.
This is the misandrous rhetoric that's popular on a global level. It's okay to say stuff like this and receive no backlash.
And then this is not considered bashing? What is this considered then?
They don't consider that. I don't know what the they consider that shit. They think
but that might have just been a little jokey joke. Y'all are a little too sensitive.
According to a recent stat, by the year 2030, 45 or upwards to 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be single and childless. 45%. A room with 100 women, 45 of them will have no children and have no husband. Probably not even a boyfriend unless you consider AI as a reasonable alternative. Folks, this is the long-term effects of modern feminism. Say what you will. And some may even say that feminism won, right? This is what they wanted. They wanted the girl bosses. They wanted women to be more occupied with spreadsheets than bed sheets, right? The home became an insult to a woman's ego. And instead, it was for you to go out there and to not just be like a man, but to be better than the man at being the man. According to a recent stat, by the year 2030,
Smokey the Bear is flipping his motherless lid because there's smoke from Marquette all the way to Bangor on your motherless Maine. Listen, it's going to be beautiful for like New York, New Jersey, all the way up to Bangor on your motherless Maine, but we're going to be in an air quality alert from these motherless Canadian wildfires. So basically parts of Green Bay, Milwaukee, Detroit, Alpena, Buffalo, the northern parts of like New York, it's really going to be bad. Vermont, Maine, Connecticut, even Rhode Island's getting into the mix. You understand? You see where he circled? If you're in that area, it's going to be really bad for you. Now, we also got from basically Bangor on your motherless Maine to South Jersey, pollen alerts. But it's going to be really bad for like Glendale, Wisconsin, 3 Lakes, Wisconsin. I don't even know how to say that. Waukesha, whatever. Yo, Keisha. Listen, just be safe. Low to mid 80s from Bangor on your motherless Maine, right? All the way down to Washington. Sunny skies, a little hazy, obviously. We got the pollen, so just enjoy it.
Well, breaking fuck the news. Donald Trump and the Trump administration will halt disaster relief funds to cities and states that are pro-boycotting Israeli-based companies. That wasn't on my bingo card at all. Breaking fuck the news. If you feel like the job market in the United States is slowly declining and you're looking for a job right now currently and you can't find one and it just feels like nothing's working, you're not fucking crazy. Continuous July jobs report confirms that the U.S. economy is slowing sharply. Here's why. Though it may have been controversial, the July jobs report helped confirm that the notion that the U.S. economic engine is sputtering. The weakness in the job growth points to an economy that may be slowing even more than some of the traditional metrics are showing. Goldman Sachs forecasts growth to be just 1% in the final 2 quarters, due in part to slower consumer spending and sharp slowdown in real income growth that reflects weaker job growth. White House officials insist that the economy is sound and will only get better once President Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act kicks in. So basically, a non-farm payroll rose by 73,000 for a month, below even the muted expectations. Heavy downward revisions to the May and June count took the 3-month average job gains down just to 35,000, or less than 1/3 the pace for the same period a year ago. So everybody, when Sleepy Joe Biden was in office, there was statistically more jobs. So everybody, if you feel like you're lost and you can't find a job and you don't know why, and you start driving around your hometown like I do every day, and you start seeing all these businesses closing, Rite Aid is closed. Fucking Family Dollar shutting down. You get what I'm saying? Like, the job market's shit and you're not fucking crazy, okay?
A mere 12% of 30-year-olds are married and own a home right now. 12% of 30-year-olds. And the graph shows it's basically, okay, from 1950, the percentage of 30-year-olds who were both married and homeowners, okay, 1950, it was over 50%. And in 2020, it is under 15%. In 2020, it is under 15. Like I said, it's 12% of people who are 30 and also married and own a home. They are not getting married and they cannot afford a home. That's the reason. The reason they don't own a home is because they cannot afford one. I'm sure they'd love to own one, but they cannot afford it. And we just continue to laugh at people like Mamdani, who is an absurd character when it comes to policies. But we're not actively fixing the problem that is driving people to him.
We have new information about a mid-flight emergency. This one on United Airlines, a flight to Munich, Germany.
Failure, engine failure, left engine, United 108, declaring emergency, mayday, mayday, mayday.
Boeing 787 had just taken off from Washington Dulles Airport 10 days ago. Air traffic controllers told the pilots they had to circle because the plane was too heavy to land because of all the fuel it was carrying. The jet, with 219 passengers and 11 crew members aboard, landed safely about half an hour later.
Well, breaking fuck the news. It is official. Governor Governor Abbott orders the arrest of absent Texas House Democrats. Governor Greg Abbott has directed the Texas Department of Public Safety to arrest Texas House Democrats who have left the state, accusing them of abandoning their responsibilities. Texas House Democrats abandoned their duty to Texans, Abbott said in a press release on Monday. By fleeing the state, Texas House Democrats are holding hostage critical legislation to aid flood victims and advance property tax relief. There are consequences for the dereliction of their duty. Speaker Dustin Burrows, has issued a call for Texas House and warrants to compel members to return to the chamber. Abbott's order mandates that the arrest and return of any member who has left their duties and will remain in effect until all members comply. So, Governor Greg Abbott has officially put out a fucking hit squad for the Texas Democrats who have fled. He has single-handedly issued an arrest warrant, and he's basically stating, from what I just read verbatim, if you don't come your ass back, you're going to jail. So I will keep you updated with more.
Firefighters faced ferocious dark orange flames that raced up this steep hillside. Acres of dry brush, some up to 6 feet, fueled the walls of fire.
This is a very rapidly, fast-moving fire. It takes a lot of personnel to take on something of this size.
Air tankers dropping fire retardant dealt with winds fanning the erratic flames. Nearly 50,000 acres are scorched across Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. About 100 miles north of San Francisco, the lake fire spread to more than 300 acres, prompting evacuation warnings. In Reno, Nevada, the fast-moving 75-acre Peavine fire forced residents to evacuate. Those orders are now lifted after crews were able to contain the fire. And in Arizona, the Dragon Bravo fire near the Grand Canyon's North Rim has now burned more than 116,000 acres, making it a mega fire. Further north, in Utah, the Monroe Canyon fire is now more than 58,000 acres. The governor declared a state of emergency after nearly 700 wildfires have ripped through the state this year. The current fire season has crews all across the West enduring brutal conditions with little rest.
The type of fire that is burning right now and what is projected, they probably will be down there for the full 14 days.
Back here at the Gifford fire this morning, the containment has actually dropped from 5% down to 3%. Now, it's burning just to the west of the Madre fire. That was just contained last month. So officials here are hoping that burn scar is going to help this fire from spreading in at least one direction, Nate.
We have serious breaking news right now. According to Israeli News, Channel 12, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office has agreed or decided to completely occupy Gaza. Now, this may force the Chief of Staff of Israel to resign in protest of the occupation. If confirmed, this is a very serious decision that will have altering consequences for the Middle East for years and decades to come. Any such occupation would likely violate the international laws of war. We don't obviously have the details of what this means yet, but forcing the Palestinians that live in Gaza to leave would represent ethnic cleansing and would be a violation of international laws of war. Occupying the territory and forcing the Palestinians living in their land to become Israeli would also be a violation. Ultimately, none of this will bring back the hostages, and a lot of critics are merely saying that this is Netanyahu's attempt to continue his forever war. We'll see the details coming soon. I'll provide you updates every step of the way, so follow along for more.
Okay, so we have some breaking news. I never thought I would be reporting this, but God, here we go. America is now on a list next to El Salvador, Indonesia, Kenya, Serbia, and Turkey because our civil liberties are under attack. The United States has just been placed on a global watch list for cracking down on civil liberties under Donald Trump's second term. The Civicus Alliance, which monitors civic freedoms worldwide, now lists America alongside Turkey and El Salvador. In a statement, Civicus said, the U.S. is sliding into authoritarianism. Peaceful protests are met with military force. Critics are being treated as criminals. Journalists are being targeted. Funding for civil societies have been slashed. They cite military deployments in Los Angeles targeting immigrant students and sharp rise in attacks on the press, guys, all within the first 6 months of Trump's second term. The U.S. now ranks as a narrowed democracy where basic rights exist on paper but are under attack in practice. My name is Jared Zisser. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Substack.
Boeing workers who build fighter jets went on strike overnight. 3,200 workers across 3 facilities in Missouri and Illinois rejected a deal that Boeing says would have boosted wages by an average of 40%. Boeing has already seen major setbacks in recent years, including when a door panel blew out on one of its passenger jets in January last year. And in June, one of its Dreamliner planes, operated by Air India, crashed, killing 260 people. This is the latest strike seen by the company. Last year, 33,000 workers walked off the job for nearly 8 weeks. Just weeks after that strike ended, the company announced a $3.8 billion quarterly loss.
How much did we used to pay for a 5-pound bag of potatoes? I don't think it was $4.33. If I think back, maybe last year, maybe at the most, maybe $2.99, because they used to be $1.99 maybe. With cheese, everything going up. So with that said, how are you guys going to adjust? Are you going to coupon? Are you going to shop for what you need and not for what you want? Or you just going to go with the flow? Bye.
I don't know, y'all, but $7 for some chips is insane. Like, that's crazy.
India has turned away from the United States and formed a significant alliance with Russia and China. India announced that it will continue purchasing Russian gas and will stop buying US military equipment, cancelling its orders for the F-35 fighter jets. Instead, India will engage in trade with Russia and China using the Chinese yuan, effectively eliminating the use of the US dollar, something India had previously promised not to do. Even the long-standing rivalry between India and China appears to be easing, all due to growing disagreements with President Trump's tariff policies. As the world's number 2 and number 3 economies, after the United States, India and China are now joining forces and purchasing military equipment from Russia, strengthening all 3 nations. This move is seen as a major slap in the face to Trump and the US, especially as Trump had threatened massive tariffs on India if it followed through. Nevertheless, India has gone ahead, siding with what many consider to be America's 2 biggest adversaries, and now becoming one of them. President Putin has already responded, saying that India is a long-time trusted friend and now a deeply rooted military and strategic ally. This development could very well reshape global politics.
Every cash withdrawal over $500 will be automatically reported to the Federal Anti-Fraud Unit. Starting January 2026, this new rule will apply nationwide to all U.S. banks and credit unions. If you withdraw more than $500 in a single transaction, your bank will be required to report it directly to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, the agency in charge of detecting suspicious financial activity. According to an official statement from the U.S. Treasury Department, this measure is part of a broader effort to combat money laundering, tax evasion, and undeclared income. The report will include your name, the amount withdrawn, the date, and the frequency of your withdrawals. If your cash activity is flagged as irregular, such as frequent large withdrawals without official explanation, you may face enhanced audits from the IRS or other federal agencies. Officials say the goal is to increase transparency and limit the use of untraceable cash in illegal operations. But critics argue it's a major step toward financial surveillance and a serious intrusion into how people manage their money. Supporters believe it's necessary to fight crime. Opponents say it punishes ordinary citizens for using legal tender. You think this is a smart move, or just another way to control your finances? Tell me in the comments and follow for more real-world law updates coming soon. Every cash withdrawal over $5.
You guys want to see some crazy shit? Look at the price on this beef jerky. That's 1 pound. US dollars. 65 US dollars. Plus tax.
I tell you that my baby is literally going to be drinking pop. Like, look at this, $38, $61, $59, $41.
Well, maybe if you was using your titty, stupid ass women.
Ladies, birth control. So.
Of trial runs and setbacks, Aurora says its first fully autonomous semi-truck has hit public highways in the Lone Star State. company announcing Thursday the self-driving semi is making deliveries between Dallas and Houston and has completed roughly 12,000 miles so far. The Aurora CEO says he tagged along in the back seat for the truck's maiden ride. He called the experience the honor of a lifetime, adding in a statement, "We founded Aurora to deliver benefits of self-driving technology quickly and broadly. Now we are the first company to successfully and safely operate a commercial driverless trucking service on public roads."
Yeah, truck is finished. So to all my drivers that have been driving for years, right? What are y'all about to do? What are we about to go ahead into? Because I'm thinking about going into another trade, HVAC or plumbing, whatever I got to do to keep getting this bread. Now I'm giving this AI driving truck stuff probably another 10 years, 10, 15 years max, and then trucking's through. But I'm just do like a 5-year plan, get up out of trucking early. You know what I'm saying? Make my investments and go ahead and shake. But what do y'all think the next trade?
So Donald Trump signed an executive order that now targets the homeless and really anybody with a mental health condition. Restoring civil commitment, making it easier for police officers, healthcare workers, like somebody in an ambulance, to be able to commit you. So if you're talking to a police officer or you're talking to a mental health worker, do not tell them that you have any mental health issues unless you need help. Because if you tell them, for instance, you're bipolar, that could be a basis to have you committed. And you better believe Core Civic is going to be profiting off of civil commitments, just like they do with detainees and inmates. It's a money-making scheme, and it's also a scheme to target society's undesirables, according to Republican current MAGA theology. And if you've never been committed, it is a fucking horrible motherfucking process. Way worse than going to the penitentiary. I was committed once after an attempt. I got put in a medically induced coma, woke up, and they did something called the Annex 2000. And when you're committed, you have to be monitored for 72 hours. I had to see 3 psychologists, and you got to pass a little test. They ask you a bunch of questions over these 3 days. It's basically like being in jail. They try to drug you. They throw all sorts of drugs in your system. They put me on like 1 million milligrams of Wellbutrin, made me throw up. I'd never been on any mental health medication in my life, and they just drugged the shit out of me. And then, if you don't pass their little test after 72 hours, they'll fully commit you. And if you get fully committed, you're going to be there for at least 14 days. But I had a motherfucking lawyer, so I got the fuck up out of there. But people that don't have the means to be able to get the fuck up out of there are not going to be able to. And they're going to drug them to keep them there. Welcome to Incarceration Nation, man. Let's not set up infrastructure to house the homeless, which would be a fraction of the cost of what it costs to commit, incarcerate, or detain someone, which is about $60,000 a year federally. So, you ever get pulled over, you keep your medical information to yourself unless you are needing help, because they will use it against you. So Donald Trump signed an executive